From airplanes in the night sky to conspiracy theories and obscurity, fasten your seatbelts and put on your tinfoil hats for the turbulent rise and fall of B.o.B. B.o.B. first took flight with his 2007 single Haters Everywhere, a 2000s rap in the vein of My Love or pretty much any other T.I. hit from that time period, which is fitting seeing as the fellow Georgia native had a heavy hand in B.o.B.'s rise. Following a successful remix and a video game soundtrack feature, B.o.B. released the single I'll Be in the Sky, a swanky yet slightly introspective introduction in which he reflects on his growing fame while acknowledging his own mortality and the superficiality of fame itself. Then in 2008, B.o.B. all but guaranteed his ticket to first class when he featured on T.I.'s On Top of the World with Ludacris, both ending the beef between Luda and Tip and soon gaining him enough attention to land a spot on XXL's 2009 freshman class, listed alongside names like Kid Cudi and Currency. Then we enter the era of B.o.B. vs. Bobby Ray, also a reference to a T.I. project, with Put Me On, a song that makes great use of a sample of A Tribe Called Quest's Bonita Applebum. That's a sample that holds a lot of power to live up to, and B.o.B. fully delivers. In the summer of 2009, a pre-fame Bruno Mars was in a writing session with Lupe Fiasco, B.o.B., and Travie McCoy. This meeting of the minds would spark the creation of two songs that would soon be inescapable to the public. Travie McCoy wanting to be a billionaire so frickin' bad, and Nothing on You, babe, Nothing on You. While Atlantic Records knew that they had a hit with Nothing on You, and A&R initially tried to kick Bruno Mars off of the song because of his race, and another executive rejected the verses that Lupe Fiasco had written and recorded for the song, calling them whack, which sent Lupe into a near suicidal breaking point. Yikes. You already know where my heart be at, tempo that my heart beat at, boom. Upon release, the track was described as an uplifting pop rap ballad with southern soul and personality infused throughout. Plenty of the discussion was about the song's positive romantic message with an old school nature. In my opinion, the song feels very sanitized and a little too corny, plus it's littered with goofy, quirky lyrics like, baby you the whole package, plus you pay your taxes, huh? Which makes me shudder. But it's undeniable how catchy this thing is. This collab went on to receive nominations for Best Rap Song, Best Rap Song Collaboration, and even Record of the Year at the Grammys. Commercially, it would go #1 on the Billboard charts in May of 2010, staying there for 2 consecutive weeks. Nothing on You, B.o.B. and Bruno Mars' certified triple platinum debut launched the two into stardom, and it's funny having the hindsight to look back and see which one of these guys critics thought was here to stay. As someone who was a mere 12 years old at the time of its release, I'm not ashamed to say that I was a fan of Bob's debut studio album, B.o.B. Presents The Adventures of Bobby Ray. With that being said, it's oddly perfect for someone who's on the cusp of their teenage years. Derogatory. This album is a smorgasbord of stuff. It's filled to the brim with it. Apart from the very consumer-friendly piano pop rap of its 2 big singles, we get grittier, more aggressive southern rap, extremely overstimulating electropop, something that seems vaguely reggae-inspired, and I might have been suffering from an aneurysm, but I think I just heard shoegaze listening back to this, and but we gotta go to the song that you probably clicked on this video for, the crown jewel of the adventures of Bobby Ray. In Airplanes, B.o.B. is accompanied by the unparalleled Hayley Williams as he laments the hardships of fame and wishes for a simpler time. A time before everyone knew who he was. Maybe one of a simpler, flatter earth. But seriously, as memed out as this song is, it's pretty good. Getting Hayley Williams on a rap song is a feat worthy of recognition in itself, and let's all be honest and admit that when we first heard, "Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? I could really use a wish right now," we all thought it was the deepest line, and how could it not be with Williams' delivery? that's a voice that assigns importance to whatever she sings about. Yet, it does speak to a genuine feeling. Even if the fame references aren't exactly relatable to most of us listening, we can all understand being desperate for a chance and feeling like nothing but a wish can help. This was appropriately followed by Airplanes Part 2, which features Hayley Williams accompanied by Eminem this time, which is pretty much all there is to say about Airplanes Part 2. It's Airplanes, but with Eminem.
Alright.
Across this whole project, B.o.B wants to do many things and be many things. He is a rough and tough gangster rapper, but he also has the energy of the guy at the party that brought an acoustic guitar and is making everyone uncomfortable. He's a busker on the side of the road, but he's Broadway. It's bizarre. This jumbled, incoherent mess of ideas sees features from Lupe Fiasco, Janelle Monáe, and Rivers Cuomo of Weezer. Within the same record, we have this dude who is just starting to succeed in the music game, try to be a preacher, who is also an interdimensional astronaut and time traveler, who is also somehow down to earth enough to write a song called Letters from Vietnam. Some publications called the album bold, praising it for its vibrant energy and burning charisma, which I can see today and actually agreed with as a prepubescent young lad who was just excited by music in general, but listening to it now, I'm more on the side of those calling it a clusterfuck that lacks a real identity. It's cool to see someone try and push the boundaries this much, but with how all over the place it is, it comes across a little cuckoo, which we'll get to more later on. In 2012, B.o.B dropped his follow-up album, Strange Clouds. While this record still had some of that eclectic Bobby Ray flair, the direction of it was more focused and intentional. I would say that the features got a little less in the way this time. Bob has more room to show off his skills because he is a legitimately solid rapper, but yet, I feel like there's a paradox within this man that I can't wrap my head around. You're looking at a guy that got Morgan Freeman on the intro, Taylor Swift, Lil Wayne, and Nicki Minaj are on this album. The lead single, Strange Clouds, had an even better first week commercially than Airplanes, and it sold millions of copies too. However, there's always something about B.o.B that feels off. When explaining the concept of the album, he described it as a fusion between the hip-hop lifestyle and the people whose thoughts cross into the other realm of thinking, outside of the norm, which may be considered strange or weird or unique, and I feel like it's all about hybridizing these two different worlds on the ground level to the skies. What the hell does that mean, Bob? While he was touring Strange Clouds, he would talk about his new phrase MJing that he was trying to popularize. He thought that the term ballin' had gotten so universal that everyone from a 5-year-old kid playing minor league sports could say he's ballin', a business CEO could say he's ballin', a college kid that just crushed his final exam could say he's ballin', and so now, B.o.B required something that only he could say because he's number one and no snot-nosed t-ball players could ever dream of saying it, so he created MJing. Needless to say, this did not catch on. What I'm getting at is that the artist sometimes referred to as Bobby Ray is an enigma. Even when he's actively trying to be more down-to-earth, he's still up in some strange clouds, talking about different universes and personally adding phrases to the dictionary. He's more than capable of making big songs that people love, but there's something about the man behind the music that might be too imaginative for his own good. However, this is the moment where we all realize the genuine cultural significance of B.o.B. Obviously, throughout this video, we joke about his current lack of relevance, but there was a real moment within our lifetimes where B.o.B was simply unavoidable, collaborating with some of the biggest names in music like Andre 3000, Kendrick Lamar, and Taylor Swift. And he has an incredibly dynamic catalog of music, combining genres and sounds in new, unconventional, and sometimes exciting ways. So even though more often than not we don't agree with what he says, we can't diminish the undeniable mark B.o.B left on music. We saw B.o.B and Kung Fu Kenny join forces on the T.I. track Memories back then, And can we pretend that this didn't happen? I could really use a wish right now. But seriously, this song is gorgeously produced, and if you don't listen to the lyrics, it's incredible. But unfortunately, I do listen to the lyrics, and T.I.'s opening verse here is downright sickening. B.o.B's verse is marginally better in that the worst thing he does is cheat, but nobody really comes out of this song unscathed, and we all leave feeling pretty icky. B.o.B's 2013 album Underground Luxury was most notable for its single Headband, instantly recognizable from that whistle that was everywhere. My co-writer Brin had the embarrassing realization that she had confused Bob for Sage the Gemini on this track due to its undeniable similarity to his 2014 hit Red Nose, which definitely took inspiration from Headband. The song is timeless, no notes. T.I. joins us yet again, this time with Juicy J for We Still in This Bitch, a song that certainly sounds like it was made in 2014, and whether that's better or worse is up to you. Underground Luxury marked a time of decline, as sales lagged far behind previous projects, and by the time he released No Genre 2, the sequel to his mixtape of the same name, it seemed like all the momentum had deflated. There's definitely a genre here, and it's pop rap. Pretty much like all the other stuff that you'd hear on the radio. To call B.o.B's 2015 mixtape Psychedelic Thoughts ambitious feels like an understatement. Its single Back and Forth is almost addicting and still fresh with its disco infusion. This project feels weirdly ahead of its time, but Psychedelic Thoughts received no promo whatsoever, prompting B.o.B to leave his label, Atlantic Records. And that brings us to Flatline, which takes a noticeable nosedive in quality from usual form, with a clumsy chorus and verses evoking nearly every conspiracy theory imaginable, with the bulk of them being rooted in anti-Semitism. Flatline is on the mixtape Elements, where B.o.B really makes sure to leave no conspiracy stone unturned, like in the chorus for Under the Dome. Chemtrail clouds, I'm asleep though. Acid rain, I'm asleep though. Fluoride water, I'm asleep though. New World Order, I'm asleep though. Frustratingly, B.o.B seems to have fleeting moments of clarity where he acknowledges real-life issues like mass incarceration, but then goes off into, oh shit, this is like the part in the Matrix where he take the red pill and wake up and go ape shit. They told us we evolved on some ape, but I guarantee you Charles Darwin was a Mason, damn. Okay, the saddest thing about this is that B.o.B hides himself in his own delusion, making himself immune to criticism and reflection by assigning all negativity to some nebulous they. Hey, Neil Tyson need to loosen up his vest. They probably write that man one hell of a check. Hey, I'm over here on this side of town. Come on over here, try to, clown. There's something about saying, yeah, well, I'll kick your ass, to someone when you're losing an intellectual argument that negates any toughness that you inexplicably hoped to gain from it. Before turning to the conspiracy theories, was his music wrongfully suppressed, most likely because of marketing and focus group BS? Probably, but it's like he skipped over all the logical answers because all of the logical answers were maybe too painful. You're not being suppressed because of Freemasons, your music just isn't that good. Worse yet, he's since addressed the whole mess in his 2022 song TED Talk, in which he basically shrugs and goes on the defensive with the classic, I was just asking questions, while simultaneously throwing a tantrum over people's negative reactions and ultimately the consequences of his actions. All of the lack of accountability makes it blatantly obvious he still doesn't understand the problem, that he wasn't just someone asking questions, he was an influential artist who was sowing seeds of misinformation in a large audience. And the icing on the cake is the song just sucks. His flow is blatantly uninteresting, like he's not even trying to rap, just be defensive over a beat. It's difficult to even try and talk about this song at all, because the focus really seems to be on everything but music here. So what's B.o.B doing now? He's dropped a few projects to virtually no success, even though he's seemingly mostly returned to his pre-fall quality, and he's currently threatening to release Elements 2, presumably so he can still say he's the best flat earth rapper, I guess. It seems that his persistent need to be different and stand out in any way possible, fueled by his own hubris, combined into a formula for a fatal fall. At the end of the day, he's balling, and we're MJing. Thank you for watching that video on B.o.B. If you want to support the channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media at RenshawHS. You can support me on Patreon or Twitch, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.